Yeah. I was thinking about when you said the Jabari, I was just thinking about that tribe and how, we were talking about rulers and how they're all different. And even though the Jabari seemed to be like almost like an outcast amongst the different tribes, they still respected the throne enough to take care of T'Challa when they found him, and even still eventually come help the rest of the tribes when the shit was going down.
Yeah, and Baku is the comedian. We wasn't expecting him to be that. I was like, scared that poor little white man. I said,
was like,
not Asian.
Why don't you just tell him that he can't talk?
Talking about, no, we're vegetarians. We don't eat.
Welcome to the Recycle Podcast, where we discuss everyday issues from a mental health perspective. We are your hosts, Dr. Rashonda Strickland,
Dr. LaFanya Jones-Hines,
and Dr. Nichelle Wall. Welcome back to session 126, Movie Mental Breakdown. Today we will be doing two films, Black Panther and Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Today's mood music is brought to you by Kendrick Lamar and SZA, All the Stars.
So let us preface this by saying this is a spoiler alert. If you have not seen Wakanda Forever, stop right now and go see the movie and then come back. But come back and listen to it.
And this is a review.
Oh, yes, that part.
This is not the movie. This is a review.
That part. Lord have
Yeah,
mercy.
we have had some of the most comical comments on YouTube.
Yeah, for sure. Now, the cast for this film is enormous between two films. But of course, like the main people from the first film are Chadwick Boseman, who plays Black Panther, of course. Lupita Nyong'o, who plays Nakia. You have Michael B. Jordan, who plays Eric. I can't remember his Stevens, aka Killmonger. Letitia Wright plays Shuri. Danai Gurira plays Okoye. Winston Duke plays M'Baku. Daniel Kaluuya plays Wakabi. Angela Bassett plays the mom.
Queen Ramonda.
Okay, gotcha. Martin Freeman plays Agent Ross. Who else is important from the first one?
You have Andy Serkis, who plays Claw. He's kind of importante.
Yeah. So that's first. Then second, we have Tenoch Huerta, who plays Namor. I guess he's like the main important person from the second one.
You also have Mabel Cadena, who is Namora, which is his cousin. You have Alex Livinalli, which is, I can't remember his name right now. My brain is drawing, but his second in command. Then you have Dominique Thorne, which is the introduction of RiRi Williams, who plays Ironheart. And we have Julia Louis-Dreyfus, which is our official villain of this particular story, but she's playing undercover.
Absolutely.
And just so y'all know, I'm going to be popping halls. I was out last week because of the flu.
Gotcha.
So the cough is still lingering.
We forgive you.
Thank you.
So, this movie, the first one, kind of, I think is near and dear to a lot of people's heart because it was the first feature major motion film of pretty much an all black cast.
For superheroes.
And with a huge budget. We're talking $100 million plus budget. So I think this one is always going to have a special place in people's hearts. But in true superhero fashion, it is a straightforward film, as most superhero films are. But the good thing about this one is it fits with a lot of the stuff we talked about this month.
Yes.
So it was a great pick for that.
That's the ironic part.
Yes. So, the movie kind of starts off with just us being introduced to the idea of Wakanda and who, T'Challa is taking over the throne. His father has passed away. And if you haven't seen Winter Soldier, you'll probably need to go back and watch Winter Soldier.
Because he was murdered.
Yeah. So there's a lot. When it comes to these particular films, there's a lot of backstory that you need to go back and watch some things to understand. But his father has died and he is taking the throne. And he's not too young of a king, but he's a fairly young king. So he has a lot to learn about stepping into this role because it seems like his father may have ruled for a long time. So, you've got this maybe late 20 somethings, early 30 somethings individual stepping into this position. And he's really got to figure out how he's going to be the ruler of his people.
Yeah, and I think that's always a difficult role to step in because you are trying to find yourself, and then you have people say, well, your father was such and this and that and this. I know how my father ruled. I was his kid, so I knew.
It's very similar to what Britain is going through right now. That man is trying to get his life together.
Yeah.
And people are realizing that he is not his mother.
Right.
Which he's not supposed to be.
He's not supposed to be. And he wasn't, he said that he was not going to be before she passed away.
No. Unfortunately, he is struggling. That's the unfortunate part,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole nother.
Yeah.
Excuse me. That's a whole nother set of issues there. But, I think the important thing that in this, iteration of taking the throne is it seems like the people of Wakanda are very excited about him stepping into that role.
And supportive.
Yeah, and are willing to be patient with him to learn how to be king. Because I can only imagine you stepping in and like, oh my gosh, like I'm having to fill such big shoes, in the world that we live in today.
And he has two different roles. He's a Black Panther.
That too.
So
not just king.
Exactly. So what the Black Panther can do, King can't necessarily do. And what the King can do, Black Panther may not necessarily do. I may not spare your life as the Black Panther.
Yeah.
But as the King, I can't have folk filming me, unaliving you, and I'm king.
That is true.
And just some further backstory with the Black Panther, you have these different tribes that have banded together, all except for one, which is the Jabari tribe. We'll get into him and his people later. But they all band together, and the Black Panther and whoever the king of Wakanda is reign over these, I believe it's 5 tribes or 4 tribes. So he is over a lot of different people, trying to see to a lot of different needs, a lot of different climates. Like it's a lot going on. It's as if really kind of like he's handling the different areas like our president would do, essentially.
Yeah, I would agree. But the main plot point of this film is you have Killmonger, who is a Wakandan.
Yes, he's Wakandan.
Wakandan. Who is Wakandan, but the people of Wakanda do not know this. He's like a secret love child of a native.
Somebody lied is the problem.
That part.
Yes.
T'Chaka lied.
So, he's trying to get back to his people one way or the other.
Or get back at them.
That part too. And the way he seems to be able to do that is he's using a mercenary, a kind of thief, if you will, to be able to secure I keep wanting to say Wakandan to secure a Wakandan artifact.
Yeah.
And I think his ability to be able to figure this stuff out really showed his dedication and passion. And, as we'll talk a little bit later, it's so misguided. But I think his skill point.
Yeah. And that's I wonder like how much of his skill point was purposeful because he knew that the king unalived his father. So from the time he held his father's body in his arms, it's like, I got a purpose and I need to find out about this. I need to find about these artifacts and I need to know I need to get the training because I know I'm not getting the training that they getting over there. So I need to figure it out.
Yeah. I think for, I can't think of his name, his Wakandan name, but, I think he knew a lot education wise because his father was preparing him. So he knew the things that he needed to know.
He left notes.
He left notes. We find that a little bit later in the movie. But I think the part that spiraled him was the rejection. I think if they had took him, it would not have been the same thing. Even with his father being murdered by his brother. And in that situation, his brother lashed out, or his daddy lashed out at the king, and the Black Panther struck. And you ain't gonna make it because only one of y'all took the heart-shaped herb. So
and those nails are very sharp.
And side note, if y'all don't know this, the individual who plays T'Chaka when he unalives his brother, and the person who plays T'Chaka, the person who died and was Black Panther's father, their father and son.
Oh, like in real life?
In real life.
Wow. No, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, look at that little extra little
I know, that's a good trivia moment.
I like that. That's cool. But this is a story of a inner child story, right? We've talked about this before in therapy with our clients and stuff, and that inner child wound will really, it'll tear you up and create a whole different person than what you could have been, because there's a lot of exposure, lack of protection, lack of understanding. And
you created your own story.
Right. He filled in the gaps with what he believed the people of Wakanda did to him. Some of it is true.
Some of it is. And some of it's not.
And some of it's just your own belief system.
Well, the thing about it is, to me, none of it is true, because it was the king and his brother. Wakandans, they didn't know about him, so they didn't do nothing to him.
Right.
No, but they are guilty by association.
But that can't associate. Yes, in his mind. Yes.
Yeah, I think the problem also lies in the situation never being righted. If King T'Chaka at some point had went back and got him, because he knew, you had, I can't remember people's names right now. Look, let me pull it up. But you had James there.
Forrest, yes,
James. But I can't think his Wakandan name.
Yeah,
Zuri. If he was reporting every single thing back, he knew that he had probably fallen in love with somebody, because that's just the way the Wakandans typically do when they know that they're gonna have, whatever. And then you got this boy who has got the tattoo, he got everything that he's supposed to have, so he's gonna be well steeped in the culture. Y'all abandon him. And when you leave someone in the crappy environment that we have going on in the Americas for Black people, we lucky that's all he did. But think about, once we see his full body, and he has all the markings of all his kills, that's a lot.
That's a lot of
I
trauma.
mean, he was fine, but it was a lot.
Yes, the amount of trauma that young boy turned young man went through, I can only imagine. Because we don't know anything about his mother, really, like why she's not in the picture, or if she was in the picture.
She probably was somewhere working.
Yeah, so we don't know if he grew up, what types of abuses he grew up with, and knowing that, like he said in the film, growing up believing in a fairy tale. So to him, this is just a bunch of stuff, and then to find out as he grew up through his research that this is real. This is not a place that my father just made up to make me feel better. Like, no, there are people there that are like me
In my family.
my royal bloodline.
Yeah, because he is a prince too, in his own birthright. And I think the other part is him not getting to see the beauty until the end of his life. And literally that's what that scene is about. Him coming to peace with what he did.
Yeah.
How he's not going to get to enjoy certain parts of it, and really understanding, what all has happened. I think the part that really got me was when he did have to take the herb and went to the ancestral plane, and his father was so remorseful.
Yeah.
And was like, what have I done? Because they both are exiled, even in, the spirit realm.
Yeah.
I don't know where his daddy is in the second movie, but, it was just sad, and you can tell
To see the differences.
and you can see that he still ain't learned. Not in Jobu, which is the daddy name, but Killmonger.
Oh, okay.
He still hadn't learned at that point, because he's crying, he's mad, he's frustrated. Now they abandoned you, or maybe it was your family. Like, he's not able to see any of that.
Well, like you said, and everybody die. Even when being in the spirit realm with his father, and he's still like burning up on the inside, even there.
Yeah.
He's not even able to really receive what it is his father is trying to tell him.
Yeah.
Because there's so much pain, and we've talked about this before. Pain unaddressed becomes anger, and I would even say, has become fury.
Rage, fury, pissed off. Like,
Yeah. That's why that phrase when women be like, who hurt you? No, that's real.
Right.
Yes. That actually is real. Like, you're wearing it all over you, and it can be seen. And if you're going to, in that particular situation, I'm talking about date other people, people, you're going to have to get this together, because whoever you with didn't do it.
Yes.
And unfortunately, Killmonger is terrorizing the world.
Yep.
And probably could have got to the level of multi-universes if he had let it.
Yeah. If he would have maintained his position.
Can y'all imagine if them weapons would have got out? Can y'all imagine? What if Thanos had got a hold of him?
Oh, man.
It would have been snaps a long time ago.
He'd be like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Not you, vibranium snap.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Not you, buddy.
Right.
I really felt for him as a character.
Yeah.
Because they did abandon him.
Because he's a true anti-hero.
Yeah.
Killmonger is not a villain in the traditional sense of how that plays out in film. He is a real anti-hero.
Yeah, we got two of those in these movies.
You do.
But it shows you how, if you don't have that support system, if you don't have the people around you to help process these things, like, you then become the pain that you are experiencing, and you inflict that on everybody around you.
Because it makes me wonder, like, after his father was unalive, like, what happened? Like, did you grow up in the street? Did you have to go in the foster home?
They say that Agent Ross talks about his long decoration, being in the military. He is the most decorated.
But that was when he turned 18.
No. He went to military school
early.
He was he was a true Wakandan.
Okay.
And unfortunately, there was no guidance.
Yeah. Because I was just thinking about that, just looking at how different they were or would have been as kings, right? So looking at T'Challa and how he was about the customs and very for the people and his spirit.
Unity.
Yeah, like you can just see his spirit was much calmer because he had that kind of guidance and support and teaching.
Yes.
He had people around him that understood, elders, not just his parents. Like, he had a wide net of teachers, a true village raising the child. And, I think he wanted to help Killmonger, but he can't
came
help
in hot.
Yeah, you can't help somebody that don't
want help.
Right.
I knew he was gone when he killed his girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
I said, not Lisa, Linda, whatever her name is. Girl.
He said, bow.
I said, oh, she gone.
Yep.
She gone. And then gonna take little Claw man. I be struggling because these characters, Claw and Ross, is in other make-believe movies, and I'll be like, that's not a Hobbit. Wait a minute, what is his name? But he just dumped old boy, said, oh, y'all needed him? Here you go. I avenged the king. Even though we know, as the person watching, he could care less about this king. And I found his name is hold on. Injadaka. Got it.
That's Killmonger's
Wakanda name.
Gotcha.
It was bothering my spirit.
You know, it makes me think about, you know, just kind of royal families in general, like how he kind of did a hostile takeover, essentially, and what we think of as strength. You know, because there's some people that see the way Killmonger approached this situation, they see that as strength. They see that hard, I'm going to, by any means necessary, you know,
Rule
take
with an iron fist.
they see that as, oh, you're a great protector. You'll make sure that, you know, I've got it and we're good. Not really realizing that that's very self-serving. Like what he's doing is very self-serving.
Obviously, because as soon as he got in, he sent, take these weapons.
And it's,
like,
it's
sir,
weird that he was able to sway Wakabi, because that was one of T'Challa's confidants. Like that's that was his homeboy. And also he went against a lot of the things that he, you know, was preaching, you know, Wakanda and us being elevated. I'm like, this dude about to run y'all into the ground.
And tried to burn it down.
Literally.
Well, he did. He succeeded, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I was thinking that on the other hand, that there are going to be a swath of people that see the T'Challa as strength, that resolve, that resilience, that meeting the needs of your people, and how those two worlds can collide so difficultly.
I think it's two sides of the same coin, unfortunately. I think, and they say this later in the second movie, like what type of leader are you going to be? Are you going to be too noble? Are you going to be consumed by revenge? You don't need either one of those. You need a combination of these things, and being able to have foresight, insight, and some other things. And unfortunately, I think when you get into these higher up positions, sometimes it is very difficult to have that type of perspective.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so because I think too much of either of them can put a person in a uncompromising position. As you see with him, he would have had people following him because of fear, not because of respect. T'Challa had people following him because of respect and not because of fear. And sometimes some people need to fear you just because, you know, just like his confidant, like he respected him supposedly, but you didn't fear him enough to not go forward when he said, call this off.
Yeah, it wasn't until Okoye said, I love you, husband, but I'll kill you.
And he knew it to be true.
He said, okay.
That's like, what was he going to do? The Rhinos wasn't going to listen to him. They listened to Okoye.
They said, hey, Mom. How you
mother.
doing, Mom?
Let me give you kisses.
And he got down off that Rhino and said, baby, please. Baby, please. I'm sorry.
As fine as you are, you got to go. I love you, babe, but I'm going to love you from afar.
Because you just showed me that you was a coward.
Because this is treason.
And this also puts the question of like loyalty, right? Because thinking about Okoye, you know, I can imagine the difficult position that she was put in based off what was going on between the two of them, because you have she was kind of like a General Zod to me.
Okay.
In that my whole existence is built to do this thing. I was not I don't know any other life other than I have loyalty to the throne. I am a general. I know how to be a soldier. And this is my purpose here. And I want to be loyal to you, yes, because I love T'Challa. I do. But again, my purpose is I'm a soldier.
Yeah.
So I'm supposed to be loyal to the throne.
And I mean, truth be told, he won fair and square. Like, it ain't like
Technically.
he did anything.
It was some little underhanded.
Well, I mean, he was fighting.
He
so
was, but it was not their
got
rules of fighting, and he wouldn't know them.
But whatever I got to do to get you, bruh, I'm going to get you before you get me. It don't matter if I got to throw you over all these motherfucking mountains. You getting ready to unalive yourself, sir.
Yeah, I get you. And the other part I was thinking, I think T'Challa was in a very bad position because you were challenged.
He had to do it, even though his body was not prepared to do it. Like, he didn't have a choice, unfortunately.
Yeah. Because you have to follow ritual and tradition. He does have a right to the throne. I mean,
yes and no.
He is a Wakanda. See, that's where it becomes
so
funny.
Because what I didn't understand is who's the oldest? Because wouldn't the throne go to the oldest?
T'Chaka,
the oldest son? The oldest king's son.
Yes, but there was not, because of the way it's in the same family. They would have been able to battle each other.
Oh, okay.
But again, I think if it had been under different circumstances, it would have been a different outcome. But
yeah, because he came in hot.
Yeah,
he did.
He came in real hot. And I think that was where a lot of this, of course, this has to go for plot, so we understand that. But in a perfect world, I think even if he would have came in the way that he did, I mean, Killmonger, if he would have came in the way that he did, when they had him in front of the elders and all of that, if there would have been a true acknowledgement of who he was, and then a true invitation to hear his story and get an understanding of, okay, who are you? What do you want? What do you need? You know, how can we figure out where you belong?
Because there was an opportunity for that. And,
right. It was,
T'Challa
but they didn't even know what questions to ask because they didn't know who he was.
T'Challa did the same thing his daddy did. He swept it under the rug. He found out already because he got the information right before Claw's body was dumped. And he spoke to the people he needed to speak to. Not everybody, not all the clansmen. I mean, I say that, the tribesmen. But he didn't do what he was supposed to do. He should have showed up different. And I think that would have at least had his cousin saying, okay, I may be able to hear you out. But he did.
And I get that. But see, T'Challa had just, like, we not giving him credit either because he had just found that information out. He got to have some time to process.
Yes,
like,
and no.
I get.
He the king,
because I'm thinking it had been a month from then okay, he probably would have been able to come in like you're saying.
But you got to think he's already thinking something is going on. He's realizing the mannerisms from the heist. He saw the ring that him and the brother had. He's seeing these things. He already knew. And when he did the research and went talked to his daddy.
Yes. And I agree with you there. But the thing is, he's still human. He still need time to process. Yeah. Like, I got all this evidence and I know I got a cousin out there somewhere, but then my cousin come in and I just got this information. So it's like, I ain't even had time to process. Like, let me process. Like, keep him in them chains or whatever y'all got him in and let me process this first. But I agree. They didn't, like, they unchained him, because they didn't.
No way.
I know that, like, it would be no way to keep him in there.
All
but still,
he had to do was say, I evoke, whatever it is.
The challenge.
And they would have automatically, which is exactly what happened. They automatically had to go into, fighting each other, unfortunately.
Yeah. And that's why I think having that fury and that rage that he has.
And the seemingly dismissing, like you were saying.
Yeah, it was just a recipe for disaster.
It was. Because you got an adult boy.
Yes.
Yeah. And he has not learned how to properly process his emotions. He knows how to do.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know how to be. He doesn't know how to.
He knows how to go to war.
He doesn't know how to do any of those things.
Yeah.
So
he knows how to, because that's what he was trained to go to war like Wakandans, but he, like we've been saying, he didn't learn how to manage and temper that temperament.
yeah.
It's really
he
sad.
shut off from it. His grief has spilled over into a lot of areas, and then you have betrayal. He has so many different emotions running through his body.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard for everybody to watch that. Like you were saying, there's a lot of shock and unsuredness going on. Like, well, you say this is who you are. How do we know this is who you are? And then we also learned that the previous king, took care of his brother in a fatal sense. And then, when they start fighting,
and Zuri covered up too.
Yeah, like
that's why he had to go.
So many things happening at once.
Killmonger was just doing all kind of violations. Because I'm like, you done, killed Zuri, which is now the priest of Wakanda. He the person supposed to do your rites of passage to get to the ancestral world. Like, it's so many things that were broken off, and I feel like it makes me think, how many times has that happened in our history, and we've lost so many parts of history because of these types of situations. Not even talking about colonization. I'm just saying, like, as from ruler to ruler to ruler, like, I know all of those have not been smooth.
Or passed down. It's a lot. Like, I agree. It's a lot.
Like, they just found a new queen in Egypt.
Oh,
she's not in any book anywhere. Her the hieroglyphics read Queen Neith. And
interesting.
So she had a full army with her.
Oh, wow.
Perfectly preserved sarcophagus. Like, they just found her last week. So I'm thinking we got stuff like that going on. So I know we done lost a lot of things.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, but like you said, you are unaliving folk that's supposed to pass that down, sir.
Yeah.
That's why you can't be a tyrant. That's not going to work out well for the country that you're trying to keep.
Yeah, and that's why, when you feel like an outcast, a scapegoat, the black sheep, like, it's room for conversations to be had. And if you've had the conversations and, it's still not going anywhere, then I think that's when you have to make the decision on what your next move is going to be, so that you can be healthy, so that you're not going around being a tornado in everybody's life.
Yeah, I think Queen Ramonda was that in the movies. She was a bit of calm, even though she fiery. She don't play. But she was the person like, no, we need to do this. Let's regroup here. Let's go to the Jabari people. Let's, she's constantly trying
like a voice of reason.
Yeah, she's trying to figure things out, but also, hold her family together, which unfortunately she wasn't able to do. But that sort of thing kind of pops up in my head when I think about what you were saying.
Yeah. I was thinking about when you said the Jabari, I was just thinking about that tribe and how, we were talking about rulers and how they're all different. And even though the Jabari seemed to be like almost like an outcast amongst the different tribes, they still respected the throne enough to take care of T'Challa when they found him, and even still eventually come help the rest of the tribes when the shit was going down.
Yeah, and M'Baku is the comedian. We wasn't expecting him to be that. I was like, scared that poor little white man. I said, oh, like, not Asian.
Why don't you just tell him that he can't talk?
Talking about, no, we're vegetarians. We don't eat. Walking around like that. It was. I think the only reason, I think he still would have saved him, but it would have been a different outcome. You know what I mean? He would have still tried to take over or something like that. But I think the only reason why I say them is because he showed him grace and mercy when they had the annual battle.
Oh yeah.
And he didn't kill him. He said, please just yield, you know.
Yeah, because your people need you.
You, sir, get your life.
Okay.
And you're too fine to be dying in the
Came
movie.
out here strong, sir. Everybody want to come out hot towards Black Panther.
Yeah.
Everybody want to be Black Panther till it's time to be the Black Panther.
And he's still trying to be Black Panther.
Yes. You know, but overall, you know, I thought that this was a good iteration of like the way family can be dysfunctional and functional at the same time.
Fighting in the Verbanian mines. Yeah.
And that if you don't deal with your emotions, they will tear you up. They will eat you alive, unfortunately.
And if you don't deal with family secrets, they will unalive you too.
And they will come out.
Yes.
As the old folks say, what's done in the dark
comes to light.
Okay.
And of course he had, you know, that famous line about how he didn't want to be healed. He, you know, he wanted to be out in the sea, out in the ocean with everybody that traveled from, you know, Africa to America. It was beautiful, but it was so sad because I'm just sitting here like the amount of people that are in America that made it to America, but the amount of people that got thrown overboard is way more.
And jumped.
And jumped. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very
sad.
Sad thing.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And, you know, the other thing that I was thinking about that particular scene was you have choice. Now, I'm not going to go down that Kanye road. We're not doing that, right? I'm not going to talk about slavery being choice.
No, because we have common sense.
So when I talk about choice, it's not what I mean. But that he knew for himself in particular that this was the choice that made sense for him.
Yes.
And that he knew that after all this has been done, there's no way that I would be seen, accepted in his belief system, that he would be seen, accepted, and treated as an equal.
I think T'Challa would have made people do it because I think, like they said, T'Challa is very noble. He has a kind heart, and it pains him, you know, to have to do some of the things that Black Panther has to do. But the country wouldn't have. They would have followed because that's what T'Challa said, but their heart wouldn't have been in it.
Well, and the thing about it is he would have been in prison, or whatever it's called over there, or
Prison.
So he would have been in prison, no visitors, because don't nobody know him over there. So I ain't coming to visit you? Maybe T'Challa, and maybe even
I think Shuri would have came eventually.
And I think the mom would have too.
Yeah, I think his family would have came, and I think he would have been right next to Wakabi, so they'd have been all right.
You know, and the other thing about that particular scene that made me think about is, and even a little bit earlier when he was taking the throne and he was talking about how Wakanda just didn't do anything during this, you know, slavery and, you know, what happened with Black
rights.
Yeah.
And everything.
And I was thinking they don't understand his point because they're not Americans. He is he is a Wakandan, yes, but he is an American.
He's a Wakandan American.
Yes.
And he's also so angry that they can't hear his point either.
No. But I think that part of the film goes to really display like when we as African Americans are trying to explain to African people, like there's a difference in our understanding of our culture that most of us don't know. Yeah. Like we're just now figuring out where we're from, like with all these ancestry tests. And then there's a difference in the heritage that they have, and then like and I don't mean this literally, but there's almost a looking down of where you should be better, you should know more, you should, but we can't. There's like delete, no backup, recreate. That's literally what happened.
Yeah, somebody took a magnet on our stuff and like fried our hard drive.
Yeah.
Like there's literally, if you can get past great, you've done a lot.
Yeah, and that's why the Panther franchise, you will rarely see a true villain. You know, Claw is technically the villain in this movie. You'll see really the leaders and Julia Louis-Dreyfus character, her people are the villains. It's not the people that you think.
Yeah. I think that's a great segue into.
We'll do the mid-credit scene because that is technically the segue. That's why we got the fish man coming.
So at the end, you know, after all is said and done, everything in the first post-credit scene, we learned that Wakanda is now going to share their resources, their technology, their knowledge with the world. They're no longer going to kind of be hidden behind this cloak of secrecy, which exposes other types of individuals. Because I don't want to say it's not an ethnicity. I don't know what.
Well, they are an ethnic group.
Yeah,
they are indigenous. There are indigenous people. Yeah. That's what I'm gonna say. But they are also technically mutants.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how to describe.
He's a full-fledged mutant, and then they're
like demi-mutants.
Demi-mutants, kind of like what Black Panther becomes.
So because there's now this exposure, that means, of course, as us human folk like to do, pillage and plunder. Everybody gonna start trying to take the vibranium, because now it's like, oh, y'all got a whole
heap of it.
Girl, I ain't heard that. They do. But as we learned in the second film, they are not the only individuals that have access to vibranium.
They aren't.
Yeah.
Well, the movie starts off hard, though.
Yeah, it does. It does. We definitely don't want to skip over that.
It is. We find out that, you know, King T'Challa is dying of some unknown illness, which I could assume would happen anyway. The amount of times he done take this heart-shaped herb and did all this stuff to his body.
I was like, how many times can you take it out and put it back in your body and be okay?
A lot, evidently. But you know, he done got snapped. It's been a lot of stuff that done happened to this one. This one
in a very short period of time.
I'm like, right. Okay. So Shuri is in her lovely lab trying to find a way to replicate this heart-shaped herb. It don't happen, unfortunately.
Not at that time.
Yeah.
And he passes. Now, I will say, while I have my thoughts about this film just as an overall, but I will say that I really, for their tribute to the death of Chadwick Boseman / Black Panther, I thought it was beautiful. I thought this part in particular, the picture that Dr. Wall is showing right now, I thought that in particular, like that's a homegoing for real. Like we are inviting you in. And I loved the cleanness, the crispness. Like, as you can see, we're wearing white. You know, I loved the, like, I even hate associating purity with white, but because that's
the ancestral garments.
Thank you, because I was like, that's a whole nother idea, but still, I thought it was beautifully done. I loved the moment of silence that took place afterwards. You know, I believed it was a very, very well done tribute.
Another level to what Dr. Strickland is saying is that I enjoyed Ryan Coogler allowing us to see ritual. So especially for us who are American, we don't really have any. We know we got to get sharp for the funeral. Yeah, but that's about it. Like we don't. Mm-hmm. You know,
we don't have dancing.
We don't have any of that. Of course, like cultures like Louisiana people, like they are probably the only culture that stands out as far as Black people in America or spiritualists that do that. But that's not the all-encompassing way.
I have danced at funerals before. It's hard.
It is very hard, but it's not. It's typically not shown on this level. You know what I'm saying? Where everybody is like
involved.
Yeah. That whole country was it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I loved it. I thought it was beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. When I saw the dancing part, I was like, man, it would be, wonderful if I would, get my dancing skills back up to continue to be able to dance at funerals, because I have done it before. And although it is difficult, it does bring, for me, it does it gives me a sense of connecting and peace. Not that it doesn't hurt anymore, but it still gives me a sense of connecting and peace.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I thought it was wonderful. I definitely liked that part of the film.
And the way his little casket was sharp. He done floated up to the spaceship. I said, what they gonna do to him? He just gonna stay up there is that where they had the bodies? Like in the mausoleums, but this floats around? Like I had questions.
Yeah. So many. Mm-hmm. Yes. But the unfortunate part about this, though, is that this is, again, pain unaddressed becomes anger, and anger unaddressed becomes rage. Yep. And we got a little baby Killmonger developing with Shuri. Because she is holding that grief so tightly.
Yeah.
She threw herself into her work because she was so focused on trying to find a cure for him that she just...
The guilt.
The guilt. And then she didn't pick it up no more until she absolutely had to, later on. I think what I do enjoy with Ryan Coogler, who's the director, piecing things together, there's still this huge need for outside countries to have what the Wakandans have. You know what I mean? And the Queen Mother is trying to explain to them, just because the Black Panther gone don't mean we're unprotected.
The way she walked in that court, I was like, that's why I love Angela Bassett right there. Because that woman right there, on the other hand, that one, child, can't nobody do it like Angela.
Baby, look at that face.
I love this woman right here.
She is eating.
Yes.
If somebody know Angela Bassett, tell her that Dr. Jones Hines, LaFanya, Fani, whichever one she wants to call me. I love that woman.
Yes.
She was giving it. And the way she was retelling the story as if she was just saying, hey, this happened. It's still intense. But she was like, and I just wanted to drop them off for you. We know exactly where they came from because we caught them. We didn't kill none of them. But the Dora Milaje, we didn't even really touch on them a minute ago. But them heifers.
Oh, yeah.
Are cold blooded. I said, y'all can't keep doing me with these Dora Milaje. I done watched The Woman King and this back to back, and it's the same people. I can't.
Yeah, they good.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, because Michaela Coel?
Coel.
She's also, we forgot to add her in the mix for the new film because she was in there. She had the doubles. Because she didn't want to use the spear this time.
These are my daggers. And this is also our first glimpse into a lesbian relationship in the African part of the MCU. Because what's her name? Akenya, something. My brain bad, y'all. And her woman, Ayo, whatever, something.
The general.
Ayo.
They are actually together.
Oh, okay.
Like
in real life? Or in the film?
movie.
Oh, okay.
The film, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's actually in the comic book. Like this is actually what happens.
Okay.
But, you know, people want to get the vibranium.
And what I couldn't stand about that part, I already told Dr. Strickland this. The part they trying to get the vibranium.
When they on the seas?
She talking about some we under attack. No, MFA. You are attacking them.
Girl. Okay, so anybody who is an islander or a spiritualist or whatever, I was not okay. When I heard the humming, I said, "Oh, it's sirens! Oh Lord,
Oh.
Do I listen? I know it's a movie, but like I was freaking out, and I wasn't even on the water, but I was like, "Oh, they did good. How they depicted, like, we're not friendly. We mer people, we not mer people, right? I was
We
here
not
for it.
Ariel.
No,
That part.
no, you see what happened to her,
Right.
Yes. Now, what I will say, what I do think about this film is like the types of people. I think they depicted the cultures very well. You know, you can tell that they did their research and they wanted to be very true to the people that they were
real
right
people.
Now that I genuinely appreciated that they wanted to be true to the people that they were describing.
I just want to give a shout out to how they cast too, because they actually got a moreno, which is a dark complected individual, and they actually spoke old school indigenous language, and it wasn't just somebody speaking in Spanish. The person who spoke the most Spanish was Nakia, which she is Kenyan. I think she's Kenyan Mexican or something like that. So yeah,
Absolutely. Namor.
he's fine.
Now, I did love his character. I did. I'm not going to sit here and
Come
pretend.
on, anti-villain.
You know, I loves me a good bad guy. Because I love Magneto. And I will tie every antique hero back to Magneto. Because it's really like the same character retold. You know, they want to protect their people.
Yeah.
And it's not that we want to be separate from you or we want to harm you, but my goal is I'm going to protect my people. And I think this is where miscommunication can cause a lot of problems, because I think had Namor approached the situation differently, he would have gotten a different outcome, because the thing he was asking for
Yeah, he did.
was reasonable.
Yeah, it wasn't a problem, but you done snuck into Wakanda and
Up on the queen.
up on the queen and the princess, the
Right.
only living heirs allegedly.
To the throne. Right.
And they out here trying to get their grieving together. She trying to share information with her daughter that she can't share because she's interrupted.
That
It just linked in her head.
It
It's like, I
did.
gotta tell you something about your brother, but she can't tell her.
Connection.
And we don't even figure that out until the end of the movie.
Right.
But it was just the matter of disrespect. And then you, at the end of that scene, you see, oh, it wasn't just Namor. It was the whole clan, because they done brought the dang
vibranium
robot.
detector.
I said, I know you effing lying.
And y'all got that up there quiet.
Yes.
How you drop a machine that probably weighs 60 tons?
In her whole laboratory.
Y'all just set that thing down like,
Because they
And
didn't.
it was in pieces.
And how did you find them? Because they in the bush. They are nowhere near the palace, the castle, whatever you want to call it. They out in the bush.
Yeah.
I felt some type of way about that, and I said, "Okay, you starting out too strong."
he did start out strong. If he would have came foot in the door technique.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, he
And
didn't
see,
use the foot in the door
I said,
technique.
you've been underwater too long. You ain't got no communication skills. What is wrong
You don't
with
have
you?
no finesse on you. No finesse.
I understand you upset that somebody touched the vibranium, but they wasn't about to get it.
Right.
Well, and that's the one thing that I can't stand either. What this reminded me of is everybody wanting black people to jump in and help save them.
everybody.
Exactly. But when nobody there to save us through slavery.
You've been under the water since the 1500s because you're a mutant. Your people is mutant-esque.
Right.
But you are a mutant that don't die. You are Wolverine in the water. Except you got feathers on your feet. You know what I mean?
Like Hermes or something.
So it's just like I understand both sides of it.
I do.
And then I understand why he went hard on the not the explorers. Yeah, they technically were explorers because they hadn't done nothing yet. But the fact that you killed multiple fleets of people that was on one fleet, you killed all the researchers. Mm-hmm. Like I can't think of what her name was in the movie, but Lil Lake Bell, she didn't have no chance. The actress was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
she shouldn't have never flew out.
That part. Because
she's not coming back.
But that's your fault. That's your fault because stop trying to discover stuff.
Well, she might be under the water. She could be in a prison.
she could be,
but I don't think she was.
Yeah.
Well,
he a little cut crazy. He just be cutting people.
You know, that's why I say communication is key.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because this could have gone because y'all had a common threat.
Yes,
which was
his whole point.
World.
And so instead of you communicating effectively, you're gonna you're gonna try to bully us into doing it.
To killing. Let's call it what it is. To killing another black person when we already got blood on our hands accidentally from our former king doing the same thing.
Exactly.
We can't do that. And she's a scientist just like Shuri. Like, no, RiRi cold-blooded. You know, she really is. For her, what was she like, 20, 21? Like, she was young.
She seemed real young.
But she was getting it.
She
built all
was.
this stuff.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
Very quickly. And I love the brilliance, Black girl magic. I'm here for it. Mm-hmm. But I think, if you don't know how to use your intellect appropriately, you are very easily subject to being used by the powers that be.
Because she didn't even know
what she built.
No, she knew what she built, but she didn't know that her professor had taken it and was using it for them. Because she didn't get no coins for that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. For who? She didn't know who she was building it for.
Probably Dr. Doom, but we don't know that yet. I'm foreseeing,
foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt bad for her as a character, being used in that way and not knowing that she's being used, and that she ultimately would have been the pawn, right? Because once, like, the stuff that hit the fan, eventually you're the actual person that has the knowledge behind this technology.
Yep.
And if it wasn't for Okoye and Shuri being like, no, we gonna go find her. We ain't really gonna give her to the fish man. That's what they call him at this point in the movie, the fish man. But we gonna try to save her. But the fish man is smart. I don't know if he got ears everywhere because
he knew where they were.
So why you didn't just go get her then?
That part. That's what I didn't understand. Like, how you know where everybody is all the time?
And
like,
you in the water and deep in the water.
With whales. Right. You just got blue humpback whales.
Like, the ocean has got to be noisy.
Yes.
We can't hear it, but like I would imagine, dolphins.
The water alone is noisy. Let alone the animals.
You got volcanoes under there. You got whales. You got dolphins. All of them things make noise.
And whatever else is in the ocean that we ain't found yet. You know,
right?
True. And you got your people
talking about
and living life under there.
It's a lot going on.
It ain't noisy under there. But I guess it ain't no different than us up here, and it just be,
But that goes back to what you said. If you know all of this, you done let Thanos come in. You done let these elemental jokers come in. You done. Where were you when all of this was going on? We done had all these installments of movies, and you're lazy. You're sorry. That's what it is. It's just about
I've been trying to keep yourself in secret.
Yeah, he is like, of course. The comparison to Aquaman for Marvel, and if you go by the true Aquaman, he don't really fool with the surface world at all either.
Well,
Yeah, we're not going with this version of Aquaman. We going with the real deal.
Yeah.
He don't fool with the surface world at all. But you know, he is another
Namor was first. Just want to let y'all know,
Right.
Namor was first before Aquaman.
So you know,
Stop making me laugh.
that he doesn't really, that's probably why he didn't do anything, because he doesn't really mess with the surface world. You know, they led to the death of his people.
mom, yeah.
You know,
because they got, what was it? I don't know what it was. We just gonna assume it was smallpox.
I think it was. I think it was, yeah.
Because you know, people are nasty and don't wash their bodies.
Yeah, I think it was smallpox.
But it led to the death of his people, where they ended up having to go and get this help from the spirit world to be able to, you know, find a way to survive. And then the one time, you know, once his mother has aged well beyond him, and she finally passes, to finally, it seems like for the first time on his part, go to the surface world, and you have enslaved his people.
Because he's a baby.
Yeah.
I mean, not a baby, but he's
He was
a
like
baby.
8 or 9, it looked like.
Yeah.
Between 8 and 10.
Because I imagine it's the normal folklore. They age up until maturity and then they don't age no more type of thing. So he was young, being a king and directing his people. And then you shooting at his people, but then they don't really die. Sometimes they die, but they don't. I don't know what be going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, the inconsistency part. Yeah.
Yeah, I was. That was fine. It's the later when they do die. I'd be like, but
it's like,
they got up and said,
but you didn't. Yeah,
Right.
but,
I mean,
like, but you
you-
didn't on the bridge. But
Yeah,
then
on
you
the
did
bridge. Yeah, y'all jump back in the water.
in the
Said,
water.
wait, why?
Okay.
What was it? Now, what I will say, when they showed up on that bridge,
The general had that on lock, honey.
Oh yeah.
but all of them, I said, don't fight. Don't let it be fights between the blue and the black. Technically, the brown and the black, don't do it. But they looked bomb.
Oh, yeah.
Namora and whatever his name is, it started with an A, I think. The other second in command. They got it on there?
I'm trying to find them.
It's something. It started with an A. My brain is bad, y'all.
Yeah, I can't find it.
We'll figure it out and then.
Oh, maybe it's Alex Livinalli.
It's that person.
Attuma.
Attuma. Boop boop. That's his name. Start with an A. So he was trying real hard to give Okoye the business, and he bested her, but he wasn't giving her the business.
No, but that's another thing about warriors. They understand other warriors, and there's a code amongst true soldiers, right? They are not gonna, if you down, but you look like you still got some fight in you, then they'll like, all right, I'm gonna let you get up.
I'm gonna let you keep fighting.
Yeah, because I like this. You know, you give me some practice. I want to keep this going.
Yeah, but you
I
could
ain't
also
fought like this in a long time.
You could also see that they didn't have honor though. That's the. I was like, oh, I wish they had just a little bit more honor, because they just was killing everybody. Killed all them cops. Was trying to kill the baby. RiRi. She ain't even alive. She didn't even knowingly do any of the stuff. Y'all technically she could just stay in Wakanda or stay under the water, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But what is wrong with y'all?
Well, like you said, they've been under the water for so long. They don't know. They don't know the rules of this side.
Right. I need y'all to calm down. Y'all need a little piece of Valium, a little water Valium, because y'all is doing too much.
Yeah.
Go get some of that black ink from them squids.
Yeah. Okay.
Squirt in your mouth.
Get some sea moss. Do something.
Y'all probably got the good sea moss.
Okay.
It's deep. Probably touching the vibranium.
Look,
it's gonna cure a lot of stuff.
And even though I was feeling some kind of way when Shuri went, because she went against her mother's wishes, I was glad ultimately that she was there, because she served as a go-between when they took RiRi to the
because
water
everybody would have
world.
died. Okoye would have died.
Yeah.
RiRi would have died. Like, because there was no diplomacy. You know, what is the general's fighting?
Yeah.
It's not her job to be a diplomat.
I think they honored the princess, like you were saying earlier. I think that's where the honor came in.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they got a little sense.
Yeah.
A little sense when it comes to that.
And there was light at the end of the tunnel. When she was down there and he was showing her his world, he was explaining to her how things came to be and, you know, really speaking to her on level. You know, that because I think he understood who she was and her role with the Wakanda people. So he was speaking to her as a royal to another royal. Let me tell you, this is my plan. And I want you to be on board with me with my plan.
For a second, I said, "Is we about to be romantic?"
I thought the same thing for a hot second.
I said, "But this is an anti-hero. It's not gonna go there."
I thought it for a hot split second. When he gave her the bracelet, I was like, oh.
That's your mama bracelet. But he don't care. I forgot who we was talking about. Even Letitia Wright, who plays Shuri, she said, he's such a sweet man off camera, but on screen he scares me.
Oh.
She was like, when he turns into Namor, I don't like him.
Because he didn't raise his voice at all in this film. He kept the same, and I think that's what leads to that fear, you know, like
because you still
mean
have
business.
that command in your voice,
right? You didn't come out your character once.
Yeah,
that's a level of sight. I ain't gonna go there, but
like that kind of that kind of restraint.
I mean, you old though. It's kind of like watching vampires. You know, they should have some level of restraint, but sir.
Yeah.
You're quiet and crazy.
Don't mix.
But still immature, but grown at the same time. Like it was.
There's a lot going on.
Yes.
You love your people, but you're also willing to sacrifice them.
Because they just get up and walk back to the ocean. I said, what? It scared me for a second. I said, because Attuma, he was like, go back to the ocean, go back to Namor or something. I was like,
Khan, because that was his other.
Oh yeah,
his other name,
Fishman. But he changed his name to Namor. No love.
Yeah, there's just a lot here.
Yeah,
and of course, you know, you still got the Americans trying to get the vibranium
the whole time,
and Agent Ross is still trying to be a G and hold it down
because he know better.
POP, holding it down. That was him.
He trying.
Man. Also, there was, speaking of Agent Ross, when he get in trouble, there's all kind of like little Chadwick Boseman things in the movie because the license plate it says CAB in his birthday. I was like, y'all come back. It was like when I was watching the movie that Regina King did, and it was the train was Boseman something, The Harder They Fall or something like that. Like there's even she had Chadwick Boseman stuff in hers. Like the whole black community has been like
interesting
cool stuff in there.
Because I've seen that, but I didn't notice that in there. That's awesome. Yeah, but I appreciate Agent Ross trying to hold it down and continuously support Wakanda.
Yeah,
throughout.
They need to recruit him really.
Make an honorary. You know, you give people honorary doctorate degrees. Why you can't make?
Well, they might be mad because, you know, Bucky messed it up too. Because if y'all watch the series on the Disney Plus, he got a little fly. They took that arm right on off of him. Chum, 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 chum. Arm just laying over there on the floor.
You gonna make me start coughing again.
But, you know, Namor said he's very consistent throughout the film. I will give him that.
Yeah.
He is consistent. Is y'all gonna help? Is you or is you ain't? That's all I want to know. That's really all he said throughout the film. Is you or is you ain't gonna help? Don't bring none of your people down here until I get my. I don't want no problem. I'm trying to get a yes because I really don't want to hear a no. I just want to hear yes. You gonna help? But I digress.
You got to give people free will.
Yep.
Yes, and unfortunately, Queen Mother won't trying to hear that. She want her baby girl back.
Mm-hmm.
And you
And
know,
she
demoted Okoye.
Oh, that was
that broke my heart.
I was like,
Me too.
Because you know, if you go off of tradition, most of the Dora Milaje are not people who had families, like family of origins anymore. And the way she had a relationship with Queen Mother, I would stand to say she's probably one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, that one was hard. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And I was talking with Dr. Jones-Hines earlier about it. I was like, I understand the content of why she did what she did. I do. I get
You lost the princess.
Yeah, I get it.
I get the emotional connection to it, but the logic.
I'm like, but
Well, logic, I think is fine too, because the Dora Milaje runs itself. So it's not like it's going to miss anything, because Oyo stepped right up into the general position, you know what I mean? Even though that's a little off of the comic books, but
yeah.
I was like, no, keep her.
I know. I did too. I was just like,
that's why for me, logically, it was like emotionally I understood, because the princess was gone, even though you ain't had a full story, but the princess was gone. But logically, it's like, oh, don't do it.
that one hurt.
But that's why she went and got Nakia, the spy, who is now a head mistress in Haiti, or Haiti, as they say in the movie. I've been saying this wrong, though.
I thought the same thing. When I heard them say, I was like, Haiti.
I was like, wait a minute.
I was like,
are they saying, what
are
they
they
saying?
I've been saying this wrong the whole time. It's Haiti, not Haiti. Okay.
That's why I said I got to stop being American. I said I got to be more
We
knowledgeable.
probably need to start listening to how the GPS pronounce words, because that's probably how it's pronounced.
Okay.
Man.
She's saying it right the whole time. But yeah, she, gets recruited back to Wakanda to assist in the
retrieval.
Thank you, because my head was saying capture, but I was like,
other side.
Nope, that's the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Retrieval of the princess. And the hard part is, y'all don't know, she was really getting to Namor. Like, she was really in there, like, softening that spirit.
I was sad on that part. I was like, oh, y'all killed a good one.
I know.
I was like,
yeah.
Can you help me? And she died. I said, oh, you done killed one of the fish people.
And that mean now he definitely got to go hard now. Because you done came down here. Somehow you found her. You found my place of living. You came in and you done stomped up and put your shoes on my nice white carpet.
But see, that's what I don't be understanding.
You got to get to getting.
You kidnapped the princess. Well, she went voluntarily, but still. You kidnapped the princess and the girl. But you mad because your tribe got unalive. Sir, you started this.
He did.
How you gonna be mad at us because you kidnapped her?
Because this is the thing. If you really don't like the other people, then you go get them. Don't come over here in black people business.
That part.
Making us do stuff
that we ain't got nothing to do with.
Kind of black people business. Black people business.
But yeah, I was like, Wakanda needed to open up. We've seen very few world powers that are isolated make it.
Yeah.
We see the effects of that in our current system, our current world, and it's not going good for anybody right now. So,
and my thing was, did you think he was playing? Like, y'all came and got the princess, and I don't have children, but as a parent, I can only imagine.
That's your only focus.
Yeah, that's it. So I get it. But did you think he was playing?
They tried to get ready, but I don't, because they ain't never fought this person before. They obviously were not ready enough. But I'm like, these are all mutants. Every last one of them is technically a mutant. And Namor by himself,
because he's the only human flesh colored person.
He just got
so
wings
it's
on
something
his feet.
different about him. If everybody else blue and he brown,
even his cousin is blue. which
And
made
he
me
got
think
wings on his feet or his ankles. You something didn't tell you. No, it's something different about this one. I can't put my finger on it.
What cracked
something
me
different about you.
What cracked me up is M'Baku continuing to be like, I would kill him with my staff. Sir, he crushed your sternum.
He did.
Sure
Your
did.
whole, like
Your
it
whole
cracked.
armor.
Yeah.
Your armor was gone.
The whole thing.
It's so bad to
I actually
when we
thought he died.
I did too.
I was
I did too. I was like, oh my God, yeah, this is what we gonna do.
beat you with your own staff to the point of you had to go get a vibranium staff for the next fight.
You said, "Oh no, you ain't doing that to me again."
Said I've been in the
But he
mountains too
learned,
long.
he learned his lesson.
Oh no.
You won't get
learned-
it twice, sir.
He said, "Fool me once, shame on you."
Because
he was can't get food
he was
again.
crunk. He was like, I see him. I see the fish man. Let me go, sir. Sit down. Did you think like? Did you forget that the Dora Milaje was the Dora Milaje? Like, if they was fighting Okoye and you ain't been able to best Okoye, what did you think he was about to do?
He thought he was gonna win.
And what the other part that I didn't understand is y'all knew that the man was coming. Why was the queen by herself?
Well, she wasn't technically. She was directing everybody. She was in battle mode.
But why wasn't why she needed to have some people with her that was some warriors?
She is the queen mother. She doing like women do.
Yeah, that part.
Sacrificing.
Yes,
and I think she would have been fine if she would have not stayed in the throne room. That was the issue. Like,
Where the glass
it ain't
was.
gonna be a battle of minds. Like, ma'am, you didn't get to take the heart shaped herb. So you regular ruler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it was the Panthers like swimming. You're regular. You're just Queen Ramonda.
Yeah.
And she probably would have still made it, but she saved RiRi.
And was struggling getting back up.
Yeah.
She was underwater too long. But still, I that part I didn't like, because now granted, if Angela Bassett is getting ready to move on and do other things, that's fine. But why they just couldn't send her on a sabbatical? She had just lost her. I mean, her son and her husband.
Yeah, because it was back to back,
Yeah.
essentially within the course of 6 years, 7 years.
So why you just can't send her on a
I
sabbatical?
think what'll probably happen, and I don't know, his mind, Ryan Coogler's mind, is that she'll probably come back, like she did, for Shuri.
Ancestral.
As the ancestral, because she the only ancestor I done never seen said, "Hey, I'm talking to you." I said, "Okay." She didn't even go to the sleep time. Like, she didn't. she said, "Hey, keep on here. I'm gonna spank you."
Yeah.
I said, "Okay, now that's the ancestors I know, the ones that be tearing your forehead up."
That part.
But he came and wrecked shop on Wakanda.
Oh,
He did.
I said, "Ooh, I bet they didn't realize they had so much water around them, because it was water coming out of everywhere."
he pulled that water from the 7 seas. We still got 7 seas.
Yes.
Okay, because the water been going down.
But baby, he pulled that water from every which direction.
Yeah, man. Oh, it was beautiful, and I can only imagine how difficult it was to film that. And hopefully they got it in one take. But
Yeah.
the blue people was coming from everywhere.
The little blue water ball things. I'm like, why y'all
Oh,
wasn't
the water
prepared for that?
grenades.
Bombs.
Water bombs.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm like, why y'all didn't prepare for this? Like, I don't understand. Like, so we just not gonna be prepared.
And my thing is, y'all are the most technologically advanced nation on the crust.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say in the seas,
But they
on
the
the
same.
crust.
They the same.
But y'all didn't have. He had water grenades. Y'all didn't have nothing.
The thing is, I think they probably got a lot of them. Because this is the point where they stop coming back to life, like little zombies. But it was an annihilation.
It was.
Yeah.
So then, of course, now we got, Shuri. She like, oh, I got to really figure out I can't have my folks out here like this. I got to really figure out what's going on. And I need to essentially become the Black Panther.
Oh, but they did have a funeral too. So we got 2 funerals.
Oh, that's right. For Queen.
And it was hard to get footage and images, but I got Nakia. you know.
Okay.
So I was like, she had a very striking image, and
That's a beautiful shot.
yes, and I did enjoy that M'Baku stepped up as a counselor,
yes.
even though I'm in my head, I'm always like, this fool still gonna stab you in the back at some point, but he at least was like, you need to do what's best for you and Wakanda.
Yeah. Don't let this consume you. And I think that was the consistent theme throughout all of this is don't let the rage, don't let the anger, don't let all of this consume you because you won't be able to be the type of leader that your people need.
Yeah.
But, you know, Shuri, she is a genius.
Yeah.
In the literal sense of this word. So she is determined to figure out the formula for this purple flower.
Yeah.
Heart flower.
Heart-shaped
Heart-shaped
herb.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. She is determined to figure out the formula for this and how to create it so that, or a synthetic form of it, because there is none. Killmonger from the first film burnt it all up.
Yep.
But thankfully,
They had a
little piece of strand of some vibranium
in Mama's bracelet. And of course, because plot's gonna plot, she did find the formula.
Yes.
She did the ritual.
Or something like the ritual.
Ritual light.
Yeah.
She did a diet ritual.
Yeah.
Nakia tried to do it fully, but Shuri is
She
a
was like,
science
"No,
person.
give me the stuff."
Yeah. I was like, okay.
And lo and behold, who does she find when she goes
I
to
feel
the
so bad for her because you could tell she wanted to see her brother or her mama.
Or her
Baby,
daddy.
she
Or
didn't
her
see
daddy.
nobody but good old Killmonger.
The way he was looking in this cardigan and these white pants, I said, you better be in the afterlife flourishing. Your locks growing. Come on.
I know. He was like, I'm actually doing good out here. He
was. I
these
said,
ancestral
sir.
streets.
He got his own throne room. He said, well, who was you expecting to see? Hey, cousin. I said, you want to stop saying that in all the movies. But I was like,
He said, "Hey, auntie."
in the first one, but he said, hey, cousin, in this one. I
Yes.
said, you should not look that good. Michael B. Jordan is okay, but Killmonger is fine.
Didn't I literally
Yeah.
say that before you came in
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
I said, I don't particularly think Michael B. Jordan is nice looking, but Killmonger, it's something. I can't put my finger on it.
It's the
I
bad
want to
boy.
put my finger on it.
Yes and no.
It's something about the way his
The swag.
I don't
the
know what it
smooth,
is.
It's something.
It's like Urkel and Stefan.
Urkel.
That's what it is for me. Because I was like, he could be in any other movie, and I'm like, his body is always on point now.
Unless it's Creed.
From here down is always a beautiful sight. From here up, I'm like, oh, okay.
He got strong features.
But baby, when he came out there, and I'll take you even with the gashes all over
Well,
you.
you don't got no choice if you taking Killmonger.
I mean,
His ceremonial scars.
thank you for cleaning that up. Because I was like, yes. But I was surprised to see him when she came around the corner.
When I was watching it in the movie theater, I said, oh, that's not going to be who she think it is. I wasn't expecting him. But I said, oh, she not going to the tree. She going, okay. Oh, her heart not okay. Like, this is literally the words going through my head. When she turned it, I said, I know that ain't Killmonger.
It was.
Yeah, I think had her mom not been killed, it could have been her brother or her dad. But like you were saying, her heart wasn't. Yeah,
I don't know, because I think she was already
She
at
was
a
already
rage.
wanting to
I don't
burn
think
the world up because of her brother dying.
I don't think she would. I think she would have still went. Maybe she would have went to her uncle instead. Maybe because he a little further in the journey.
but did she know him?
No, but
But he still coulda came
didn't
to her.
technically know
Yeah, but she had met
in
him.
Jadaka either.
Well, so the reason why I say it had it not been her mom being killed, I think she was still angry, but I think it had softened a little bit. Like I don't think she was enraged.
No, I think her time in the underwater area helped her because she got to see the way they lived and that they were just people, mutant people, but they were just people. He wanted to protect them, and so I think that had helped.
Yeah, absolutely. But she gets her message that she needs to get from him in the spirit world, and she becomes the next Black Panther. And now, of course, we got to reach the climactic fight. So they go and, the fight with the...
What are they?
I was like, what are they called?
What I'm not going to do is call them Atlanteans because they are not Atlanteans.
Yeah. I was like, actually, now I don't know what...
the Tolokans.
Okay.
Because
I knew it was something to start with, but I was like, what is it?
I was like, I can't remember their names. I was like, Namor, Kukulkan. I can't remember. Yes.
The Tolokans.
So, of course, everybody's going to fight because they came and got the princess, and he said, if y'all come on my street, I'm coming to fight y'all.
Namora coming through with a vengeance.
She's a badass.
She need a hug from her cousin. She really do, because it's all they level of love is almost incestuous a little bit.
Oh, when she was like, look, I've been waiting to fight beside you.
I will die for you, ma'am.
I was like, oh, she been waiting for a battle. See, this is soldiers. She was like, look, I've been wanting to go to war for like 300 years. What you talking about, sir?
But it was ingenious that Shuri and them was like, I need to dry him out. They didn't create this whole little spaceship that's going to heat him up, dry him out. He ain't never been dry. He was like, what is this? My lips is chapped.
I'm parched.
I need some water.
But he was still strong because he tore that ship up. Tore it up. I was like, oh, she ain't going to make it. I said, she need to work on her fighting skills.
I'm like, that's why I needed somebody to survive first, because you needed to grow some more.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But they fighting, they on the little desert. Well, not really desert, but
the island.
They on an island. And he's away from the water. They, of course, doing they thug thizzle. They ching, 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 ching. Doing all the stuff. And then she gets stabbed.
Ooh, I thought she was gone for a minute.
Too.
And I was like, oh, she's a Black Panther. She got stuff.
I mean, it would have fit the comic book, but
we
we're
can't
not
kill
there
her
yet.
I was like, we can't kill her right here.
Yeah, we're not there yet. And she gets Namor. My head was thinking Killmonger. She gets Namor to yield.
Yes.
And
which shows that she do got a little bit more of her brother in her than we thought. Thank God.
I think she was refusing to be like Killmonger.
Well, that's when her mama yoked her up.
Yeah,
she
true.
said, hey, show them who we are.
Exactly.
And then both of them are going through their tribes, essentially, history, like how we got here, losing parents, how the world has treated us being minorities and things of that nature. So I was glad that they were able to meet on that front. However, Namor head hard because he's still plotting.
he did. After he was like, nah, we, because they gonna need us, because now the Americans gonna come after them, and then they gonna come to us, and they gonna need us, and that's when we gonna get them.
And I'm just like, but that's not what's gonna happen anymore, because as good as Wakanda is, they still just Wakanda, and they gonna get tired of you
eventually. Yes.
Yeah. But I did. I liked how they portrayed him, though.
Oh, yes. I think they portrayed, he did this character justice.
I agree.
I think they did, they picked a great person. And I had seen a little clip about the actor that plays Namor. And I think this is like his first major film that he's done. He's done a lot of acting in Mexico. Because I believe he's Mexican.
Yes.
But they were talking about how this is his first major film, and how thankful he was to be given this opportunity, and for a Mexican person to be given such a large front-facing
and an indigenous Mexican person.
Yes,
that's different because we see a lot of as they call them, blancas and blancos, like the ones that are fair complected, because passe blanc is not just black people passing for white. There are a lot of different cultures that pass
For
for white.
Absolutely. And he was just talking about how grateful he was to be put on the big screen like that. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And he seems very kind. I've been watching the interviews and things like that, and I'm like, okay, I can get behind this anti-hero. I can get behind you, because it's nothing worse than you like start falling in love with the people that are playing it and they trash.
Yeah.
Because that's why everybody love Iron Man, because he got his life together in
Good
real
comeback
life.
story. Great comeback story.
So
Yeah.
we was going to throw him away.
Now look, loves me a good anti-hero. I'm telling you, Magneto is.
Because Magneto is both. Because he bookends. Anti-hero, but it was some middle. He was straight up a villain. I said, but I still like you.
Yeah, love a chef's kiss. I love Magneto. I could go a whole hour just on Magneto, but that's a different story. So of course, things wrap up. Nice and
somewhat neat. It's a little messy, actually.
Somewhat, yeah.
Because we do have the lovely leader of the Jabari tribe step in and say, hey, the Black Panther is busy, and I will be challenging her. Even though she's not there, I'm going to challenge her. So ain't no telling what old girl going to come back to.
Yes. Yeah. And then, Shuri goes to Haiti because Nakia has gone back, and they're going to she's finally going to burn
her
funeral garb because she's ready. And that was one of the big things that they were doing in the beginning was
before they got interrupted.
Yes, that's part of their tradition, is that after a year you come out of the active mourning process. But now Shuri was ready to do that, so she was preparing to burn. And I did love that whole, because you can tell she really was very emotional. Yeah, and that seemed very real, not necessarily like I was acting for the film.
Everybody said that when Ryan Coogler gave them the script and stuff, and they saw the emotional scenes, they really struggled with them because they knew they were going to have to really show the world their grieving process of Chadwick Boseman, and that's exactly what ended up happening. The scene with Nakia and Okoye, that was really her grieving a friend, and Shuri, that was really her grieving who she felt was like her big brother.
Yeah, it looked very, very genuine, authentic. That's a better word. Thank you. So then after that, you see the compilation of their story arc together.
What are those?
Oh my God. That was hilarious.
That was so funny. Yeah. Then you get the first post-cut scene. Oh, no, I'm sorry. There's only one. There were supposed to be two, but they only did one for this film.
Because
so they did the cut scene. And side note, if you go to any Marvel film, please know there's going to be a cut scene.
I said, where are y'all going?
Why are
the movie's over?
No, it's not. You clearly don't watch Marvel films, because there's always
a minimum
of one cut scene. Please. So we get to the cut scene, and Nakia is walking down the beach with a young lad,
young gentleman, little chocolate drop.
Now they're suggesting this boy is like 6, but however he looks,
I think it's just the way he's styled. Because when I looked at his picture on the purple carpet for Wakanda Forever, he looked like a little 6-year-old. He looks like a baby, but maybe they're trying to age him up for what they're about to do.
Okay, because I was like, he didn't look 6, but he looked to be like 10. But I was like, okay, I'm just gonna run with it. So the Easter egg that we get here is that Nakia and T'Challa have a son, and he is T'Challa Jr.,
The prince.
known as Toussaint in Haiti. But I also like that there is a Haitian revolutionary person that fought against the French, and his name was Toussaint. So I'm glad that they used like an actual, for real, important name.
Absolutely. So we learned that.
Yeah, he a baby.
Oh, he is.
Oh, yeah,
he is a little
baby.
itty bitty.
Y'all can't see this, but you know, it's
a
the baby.
Yeah.
So we learned that they have a child together, and that is the reason why that Nakia was not present at T'Challa's
Anything.
funeral because they had their own service, and that T'Challa prepared them for the loss of him. And
Yes.
that is a throwback to the original film,
Yeah.
where his father said that if you don't, you have to prepare. If you haven't prepared your child for your death, then you failed as a
Yeah,
parent.
and I appreciated that because that was the only healthy version of grieving that we got to see, and how the person who is living can participate before they pass, if time allows, in other people's grieving process. So I appreciate that, especially as a person who is a breast cancer survivor, but who has lost many people to different forms of cancer. Those are some of like the fondest memories, even though they're hard. Those are some of my fondest memories, to go back and be like, I got to do this with this person, or do that with this person. And it makes them not being here a little easier.
Absolutely. But, I think that it was a great tie back for Shuri, even though I believe now that mom was trying to tell her
Yes,
then
she was.
about him.
And he was the kid that led her queen to his mama. Are you looking for the headmistress?
Yes.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
actually her grandson.
But see, that's where I got confused with, because she act like she didn't know why the spy, I can't remember my name, Nakia, why she wasn't at the funeral.
I don't think she knew until then, when she went
okay.
to Haiti. I
Gotcha.
think that's when
she found out
she
about him.
told everything. I mean, because she wouldn't have no choice. They in her house, probably,
Yeah.
all of that. So
Yeah.
I do appreciate what T'Challa did. He knew how tough it was for him growing up, and how tough it was for his cousin not growing up. So let's create
Secrets.
this environment as best we can as his parents, and then
introduce him to Wakanda.
and that'll be even better, because now you have your aunt in on it, and she definitely will aid in that.
Absolutely.
We just going to have to worry about M'Baku. That's the one we're going to have to worry.
Yeah. That part.
Yeah. But then, that's the end of the movie. So we'll see, what the next Black Panther installment will entail.
And it's already written. Ron Coogler said it is already written.
Just needs to be filmed.
I'm excited. I think they said that they are giving the cast like a little bit of a break so that they can continue like their grieving process, even though they took as much time as they possibly could. But that's a lot. That's a lot, because he didn't tell nobody that he was sick.
Yeah. That's so unfortunate. Okay. All right. So things that you saw in the film.
So there definitely was a whole bunch of personality disorders in this film. I mean, you're always going to get that when you have villains or anti-heroes, or even heroes or anti-villains. You're going to get some cluster traits of personality disorders.
For sure.
I also think generational trauma, unhealed generational trauma, and seeing what that has done to your community, as well as your bodies, your mindset.
Absolutely.
Depression, anxiety, those types of things.
PTSD.
Yes.
Grief.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Those are the big ones.
Definitely some anger management related issue that goes beyond what you experience in grief. It was a different level.
Yeah, you got into complicated grief now.
Yeah.
Not just uncomplicated. I would agree with all those assessments. You have anything?
Nothing to add.
Okay.
That I can think of.
So how do we want to? Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say. Side note, also some issues in boundaries with Agent Ross and his wife, because we know she's an actual villain. He don't know this yet, but
And that's his ex-wife.
His ex-wife, the way she was all up in that man business and doing the absolute most, because people who watch the MCU, you've only seen her in, I think, The Winter Soldier and Black Widow, I think, because she hasn't made a full-fledged villain appearance.
Yeah.
She close, but she ain't full-fledged yet.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do y'all want to rate? Film, or combo?
I think
Film.
Okay. So I would give OG Black Panther.
And you can do 2 ratings if you need to for each, because it's, what it means to the culture versus.
Oh, okay.
It's
what
cinematic.
It means to the culture, 5 or 10. For OG Black Panther, I would say that's off the charts what it means to the culture. For being a Marvel film,
Introductory film,
I'd give it a 4.5.
Okay.
Black Panther 2 for the culture, I would probably bring this one down to like a 7. I don't think it had the punch.
You doing 10s or you doing 5s?
For the culture.
Okay.
10s.
Okay.
For the culture. I don't think it had the same punch that the first one did.
Okay.
For a Marvel film, I would still give this one maybe like a 4.5.
Because it's another introductory film.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we just getting Kukulkan. Kukulkan.
Yeah.
I would say for the culture, the first one, I would give it a 10, because I think it did a lot the first time. Like it had people really like loving being black, and just
It was very healing.
it was very healing. As a Marvel film, we doing 1 through 5.
Our normal rating.
The first one I would still do a 5. The second one, it didn't do it for me this time. So I would say the second one, I would have to give it like a 4, maybe a 5. Teeter-totter on a 5. As a Marvel film, maybe a 2, maybe a 3.
Okay. For me, the Black Panther original film, I would definitely give a 10 for the culture. For the introductions are always hard because you're really just getting a bunch of info. So I would probably give that really like a 4.5, because it's not my favorite introduction Marvel film whatsoever.
Agreed.
But I give it 4.5 because of the history that it gave us as well, because it combined so many different tribes. Like it did a good job of everything else. It was just kind of slow. You know what I mean?
It was very safe.
It was safe. And I'm okay with that, because I understand what it was at the time. With Wakanda Forever, I will definitely still give it a 10 for the culture, because I think this is the first film that a group of people got to grieve together, because we're not going to get that for Iron Man. We're not going to get, you know what I mean? Like, it's just certain things that we're not going to get, and hopefully he come back in some type of way. But anyway, so I will give it a 10 for the culture based off of that. I'll probably give it about an 8.5 for Marvel films go, because
Out of 5?
I mean, 4.5.
Damn.
1 out of 10, 1 out of 5. So 4.5 again, because for me, this is still an introductory film. and because there had to be so much foundation laid for the cool, what are they, Tolokans, as well as trying to weave an intricate story that's going to be able to pick back up where Chadwick's death ended. So I can appreciate the writer in Ryan Coogler trying to piece that together so that we can continue the story as it was written in the original comic books. So it's not exactly what I would have loved to see as a fanatic, but I understand why it needed to be written the way it was written. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would have.
Yeah.
I can see that assessment. Yeah, I don't think they were bad at all. I don't think they were bad.
No.
But it didn't give me the zhuzh of the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, y'all.
All right. So next week we will be going live.
Yeah.
It'll be a disc broad, so y'all get to see us all, unfiltered and unwind.
Yes. And even though the show is not going to be the correct color, the show is going to be blue next week. Or no, it won't be blue. It'll be blue next week. I'm going to wear green because it's November. Okay. My birth month. Okay. Just want to let y'all know if y'all want to wear green too, feel free. Feel free.
There you go.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll see y'all next week.